North suburbs. An old lane where guava trees still grow against walls, stray dogs sleep on the road, and a radio plays from a tea stall. At the end of this lane stands a three-story house. The paint has faded, the window grills are rusted, but on the balcony, flowers bloom, marigolds, hibiscus, jasmine, as if the house has learned to live on its own terms. On the second floor lives Arian Chowdhury, 28, architect by profession, but he doesn't go to an office. He has a small studio on the ground floor. There he draws designs, houses, parks, schools. But every design has one strange thing: empty spaces. He believes the real beauty of a house lies not in its walls, but in its voids. 7 in the morning. Arian stands by the window, a cup of tea in hand. He isn't thinking about anything. He is just watching. A myna bird snatches a plum and flies away. The mist slowly lifts. The city's roar hasn't started yet. This is his favorite time. The phone rings. Shravan. "Hey, party at my flat tonight. You'll come, right?" Arian pauses. "I'll come." "Promise you won't make me drag you?" "No, I'll come on my own, but one condition: don't ask me to talk much." Shravan laughs. "You never talk much anyway. Still, everyone goes crazy behind you. I've never understood why. Any secret?" Arian doesn't answer. He puts the phone down. He knows there is no secret. He never wanted people to look at him. But something exists, as if in his silence a strange magnetic force has grown. When he speaks, people listen. When he smiles, people feel at ease. When he is silent, people start telling him their own stories. Why? He never tried to find the answer. Evening, 5 o'clock. Arian showers and dresses. A gray kurta, sandals. He doesn't look in the mirror. He never bothers about his appearance. Mirrors are unnecessary to him. He doesn't want to see himself. He wants to know how the world looks through others' eyes. He steps out and starts walking. Shravan's flat is only half an hour away. He doesn't take an auto or bus. He walks. Each step feels like connecting with the earth. He could walk with his eyes closed. This path is as familiar as his fingers. But today, something happens. A little girl stands at a street corner crying. Her parents are nowhere. People glance and move on. No one stops. Arian stops. He goes to the girl and sits down on the ground, bringing himself to her level, eye to eye. He says nothing, just looks at her. The girl calms a little. Then slowly she says, "I can't find my mother." Arian says, "I will find her for you, but first hold my hand." The girl takes his hand. Arian still doesn't speak. He just places her small hand against his chest. The girl feels it. This man's touch somehow makes all fear go away. 15 minutes later, the mother is found. She bursts into tears. Arian steps back. When the mother comes to thank him, he smiles. "Your daughter is very brave. She took my hand herself." The mother is astonished. "What did you tell her?" "Nothing. I was just there." At Shravan's flat, Arian sees a crowd, noise, music, clinking bottles. Everyone is talking. No one is listening. He stands by the door, leaning against the frame. A girl passes by and stops. Eye contact. She says, "Who are you?" Arian says, "I don't know either." She laughs. "You're funny." "I didn't come to be funny. I came to watch." She hesitates, then looks into his eyes. There is no desire in those eyes, no judgment, just stillness. Something in her calms down. She says, "I'm Trisha, and you?" "Arian." "I feel like talking to you." "Then talk. I'm listening." Trisha begins her life story. A love affair where she was deceived, a job where she was humiliated. Arian nods occasionally. Sometimes he says, "Then?" Or, what happened next? When she finishes, tears in her eyes, she says, "If you hadn't been here, I wouldn't have realized how much I've been holding inside." Arian says, "You weren't holding it in, you just hadn't found someone to tell it to." That exact sentence is heard by Neharika Sen, a journalist. She was dragged to this party by a friend, bored and irritated, but Arian's words hit her ears. She turns her head. A man leaning against a doorframe. Nothing luxurious about his clothes, nothing special about his face, but his eyes, like a deep ocean. Dive in and you may never surface. Neharika walks over. How can you make a stranger speak like that? Arian looks at her. I didn't make her speak. She spoke. I was just there. That's exactly my question. How do you just be? How do you make people pour out their hearts? Arian pauses, then says, "You're a journalist, I think." Neharika is startled. How did you know? Your eyes are full of questions, and there's an ink stain on your finger. Journalists are always writing something. Neharika laughs. Right, I'm Neharika Sen, feature writer for The Statesman. Arian, architect. Can I write a feature on you? Why? Because you're extraordinary. Arian shakes his head. I'm not extraordinary. I'm very ordinary. I just learned how to be. Neharika's eyes light up. She knows there is a story inside this man, and she will write it. When the party ends, everyone leaves. Neharika stands outside. Arian steps out. She asks, "Where do you live?" "That way. I walk." "Can I come?" "If you want, but I won't talk much." "I want to listen. I want to hear your silence." Arian stops. After a long moment, he says, "My silence is not something to hear. My silence is an empty space where others drop their words." Neharika understood. This sentence would be the start of her feature. Chapter 2. The Hidden History in the Diary. The next morning, Neharika appeared at Arian's house at 7:30. Notebook, pen, recorder. Arian stood at the door. "I didn't know journalists came at 7:30 a.m. without warning." "I didn't warn you. I thought you'd turn me away." "I won't, but one condition." "Name it." "What you learn, you may write, but what you see, you cannot write everything, because some things cannot be captured in words." Neharika agreed. Inside, the house was bigger than it looked from outside, but sparsely furnished. A table, chairs, a bookshelf, a few designs pinned to the wall. A small window let light fall on an old rug. "Sit." "Tea?" "Yes, but I'd rather ask questions first." Arian smiled. "You're a journalist. Ask. I'll either answer or stay silent." Neharika's first question. "How did you learn to be so silent?" Arian brought 2 cups of tea, sat down. "I didn't learn. I suffered." "Tell me." A long pause. Then, 8 years ago, I was 20, a mad young man, always talking, reciting my own achievements, silencing friends to speak over them. I had a girlfriend then, Malini. Malini? The singer, Malini Devi? No, her name was Malini, but she wasn't a singer. She was an ordinary girl. One day she said, "Arian, you only talk about yourself. You never listen to me. You never see me. You only look at your own reflection in the mirror." Arian stopped, sipped tea. "Then?" "Then she left. No drama. Just said, 'I cannot stay with someone as self-centered as you.' I thought she would come back. She didn't." Neharika was taking notes. "Was that what changed you?" "No, that was the beginning of pain. The real change came when I spent 1 year in silence." "1 year? How?" "I went to an old monastery, Buddhist, no speaking allowed. I thought I'd stay a week, but within the first week I realized I didn't know myself. When you stop talking, you hear the inner voice, and that inner voice was very ugly. What did you hear? I heard how insecure I was, how afraid, how much I depended on others' praise, how empty. Neharika fell silent. She looked into Arian's eyes, no tears now but a depth, as if he had passed through the pain, but the scar remained. How did you return? After a year, when I began to speak again, my first words were, I am sorry, to myself, to Malini, to the world. Then slowly I learned listening is bigger than speaking, and bigger than expressing yourself is something else, realizing your own existence. Neharika knew nothing about Arian's diary then, but that night at home she thought, there is more hidden inside this man. She decided to find it, not as a journalist sneaking around, but because she felt Arian himself might want his story to come out. Chapter 3. The Truth of Malini Devi. 1 week later, Neharika had visited Arian 5 times, each time new pieces of information, but today she decided to trace Malini Devi, Arian's grandmother's friend, 75 years old, living in Shanti Niketan. Neharika took a train. Malini Devi lived in an old house filled with tanpuras, sitars, and photographs, all showing her young. Malini Devi looked at Neharika and said, You've come for Arian, haven't you? How did you know? Your eyes have that same question. When Arian was small, his eyes had this question too. Sit, I'll tell you the story. Neharika sat. Malini Devi strummed the tanpura and began. Arian's parents died when he was only 8. His grandmother, my dearest friend, raised him, but she was strict. She taught him, learn to stand on your own feet, never beg for anything, light your own inner lamp. Arian took that lesson very literally. He became so self-sufficient that he didn't even feel the need for anyone's love. But then it reversed? Yes, he fell in love with my daughter, also named Malini. She was very sensitive. She suffered because of his self-centeredness. One day she left. That was a shock for Arian, but it didn't break him, it rebuilt him. He spent a year in a monastery. He came back completely changed. Malini Devi wiped her eyes. My daughter lives in America now. She doesn't know what Arian has become. I never told her, but I know. Today, Arian is the most attractive person on earth because he wants nothing. He doesn't try to impress anyone. He simply exists, and existing is the greatest art. Neharika's eyes filled with tears. I will write this story. Write it, but remember, Arian's pull is not in his story, it is in his silence. If you write only the story, your readers will know, but if you write the silence, they will feel. Neharika returned to Kolkata. That night she called Arian. I want to see your diary. Arian was silent for a long time. Then, come, tomorrow morning. Chapter 4. First page of the diary. I am a lie. Next morning, Arian brought out the diary. Old, leather-bound, pages yellowed. I have never shown this to anyone. You were the first. Neharika opened the first page, written. May 15th, 2016, 4 months after Malini left. First day in the monastery. Everyone is silent. I am silent too. But inside, a wailing. I realize I never loved anyone. I loved my own image. I am a lie. Second page. June 30, 1 month done. This morning I saw a monk sitting under a tree. I went and sat beside him. He said nothing, I said nothing. 2 hours of silence. Then he got up, looked at me, and smiled. I understood. That smile meant, you belong here. I cried. First time I cried for myself. I never cried before, thought crying was weakness. Today I understood. Crying is strength. Neharika turned more pages. Each page held a truth. Arian had written, "People ask me, why are you so attractive? I don't answer, because the answer is strange. I am not attractive, I am empty, and in empty spaces, others want to place their dreams." A girl told me, "I have fallen in love with you." I said, "You have fallen in love with my silence, not with me, because if I start talking, I'm just an ordinary man." She left. She was right. Today I felt I really want someone to hold me, but I can't tell anyone because I'm afraid if they know that inside me there is also anger, desire, rage, they will run. They love my silence, not me. Neharika closed the diary. She looked at Arian. He was staring out the window. He was crying, silently. Neharika got up, went to him, sat beside him. She said nothing, just extended her hand. Arian held it. This was the first time he had let someone touch him by his own will. Chapter 5. The Poison of Popularity. The day after the diary, people began flocking to Arian's house. Word had spread. There is a man who doesn't speak but wins everyone's heart. They came with problems, with curiosity, with phones to shoot videos. At first, Arian didn't mind, but slowly he sensed that people were turning his silence into a commodity. One day a young man came and said, "Sir, teach me how to be silent. I'll open a YouTube channel." Arian replied, "Silence is not something you learn, it is something you become. If you pretend to be silent, people will sense it." The young man didn't understand. He left. Neharika told Arian, "A cult is forming around you. They are turning you into a god." Arian was irritated. "I am not a god, I am a broken man." "Then why do you let everyone in?" "Because I don't know how to turn them away. But now I realized turning away is also kindness." That night, Arian locked his door. For 3 days, he let no one in. Neharika called from the balcony, "Arian, are you okay?" From inside, he said, "I am breaking, and after breaking, I will rebuild." Chapter 6. Malini's Return. The Twist. 1 week later, Arian opened the door. Standing outside, Malini. The same Malini for whom he had cried, for whom he had changed. Her hair now streaked with gray, lines on her face, but her eyes still sharp. Arian was stunned. "You? Me? I read your diary. Neharika sent me a copy by mail." Arian looked at Neharika. She said, "I thought you didn't know the full truth of your own story. Without Malini, the truth was incomplete." Malini stepped inside. She took Arian's hand. "Am I guilty because I left you?" Arian's eyes filled. "No, you saved me." "Then why did you never contact me?" "I was afraid you would say, 'You haven't changed at all.'" Malini laughed. "You have changed. Before you were busy with yourself. Now you listen to others. But you're making one mistake." "What?" "You don't listen to yourself. The pain inside, you don't share it. You think silence means strength, but silence can also be hidden tears." For the first time, Arian broke down in front of someone. He put his head on Malini's shoulder and wept. And he didn't stop at tears. He spoke. He told her how lonely he felt, how scared, how sleep did not come at night, how sometimes he wanted to scream and tell everything. Malini stroked his head. "Now you are truly on the path to healing, because a healthy person cries, a healthy person shares, a healthy person is silent when needed and speaks when needed." Chapter 8. Neharika's Confession. Neharika had watched everything. She realized she was no longer just Arian's biographer. She had fallen in love, but she knew Arian was not yet ready to love anyone, so she stayed silent. One day while working in his studio, she froze. On the wall hung a sketch of her.
not a photograph. Arian had drawn it. "What is this?" Neharika asked. Arian looked embarrassed. "I drew you. When you were reading my diary, the expression on your face, I felt you understood me more than I understand myself." Neharika began to cry. "I love you, Arian." Arian was silent for a long time. Then, "I still don't know how to love. I only know how to be. Can you stay by my side?" Neharika smiled through her tears. "Being by your side is love. If one day you learn to speak, I'll stay. If you remain silent forever, I'll stay." Chapter 9. A New Beginning. A Speech. 1 year later, Arian now spoke occasionally. He agreed to give a short speech at a youth conference. Before going on stage, his hands trembled. Neharika sat beside him and held his hand. Arian took the microphone. He said, "I know you came here to hear the mantra of silence from me, but today I will speak, because silence is only valuable when behind it lies the courage to speak. I once thought being silent was great power, but today I know real power is knowing when to be silent and when to speak, not suppressing your inner pain, but saying, 'I am hurting, I need help, I am alone.' The greatest lesson of my life: people are not drawn to you because of your silence, they are drawn to you because of your truth. If you are true, whether you are silent or speaking, you are a magnet. Today I am true for the first time. Thank you." Thousands applauded. Neharika wept. Malini Devi sat in the front row, smiling. Arian stepped down, took Neharika's hand, and said, "From today I will speak, but only with you. For others, I'll stay silent." Neharika said, "That is also love."
Epilogue. 15 years later. Arian and Neharika are married. They have a daughter, Maitreyi, 12 years old. Maitreyi is not like her father. She is outgoing, chatty, argues with everyone. But she has one special quality. When she listens completely. No phone, no distraction. One day Maitreyi asks her father, "Baba, why do you speak so little?" Arian says, "I have many things to say, but I want you to speak more than me. The fire inside you, don't let it die." "Then why does everyone love you?" Arian laughs. "They don't love me, they love the space of my silence, because in that space they find themselves. One day you'll understand. People are always searching for themselves. If you help them find themselves, they will never forget you." Neharika calls from the kitchen, "You two, come, the food is getting cold." Arian takes his daughter's hand and walks. From the balcony, dusk is falling. Somewhere a temple bell rings. Arian looks at the sky, a strange, peaceful smile on his face. Neharika comes and stands beside him. "What are you thinking?" Arian says, "I'm thinking, once I wanted so many things. Respect, love, success. I got none. Then I stopped wanting. Everything came on its own." Neharika leans her head on his shoulder. "I came too." Arian, "You didn't come. You were always inside me. I just couldn't see you." Maitreyi runs in. "You two are being romantic again." The three burst into laughter. The old walls of the house seem to shake with that laughter. The storyteller's final words. At the beginning of this story, we knew a man who stayed silent and everyone was drawn to him. At the end, we understand the opposite is true. He never tried to pull anyone. He just remained himself. And in remaining, he received everything. If ever in your life you feel, "Why can't I be as attractive as others?" Remember, real attraction begins the moment you stop trying to be attractive.
When you learn to fill your own inner emptiness, the world itself comes to stand in that space. Thank you.